Have you ever been hurt so deeply that you couldn't sleep at night? A cold remark, a dismissive action. And then that image keeps replaying in your mind, like a wound that hasn't healed. You know you shouldn't think about it anymore, but the more you try to forget, the more it returns with greater force. Amid those tangled emotions, a thought appears: I must make them regret it. I must make them pay. But do you realize? The more you nurture the thought of revenge, the more tightly you are bound within their story. You think you are reclaiming justice, but in reality, you are handing them the power to control your emotions. What if I told you? There is a way to defeat them without anger, without stooping to pettiness. A way to make them see themselves as small, while you walk away calmer and stronger than ever. Would you want to know? Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who faced countless traitors, once said, "No one can hurt you without your permission." Without your permission here does not mean staying silent so they can do whatever they wish. It means choosing to win at a level they cannot reach. The level of self-mastery, of a life where they no longer hold any power over you. Imagine this. Someone insults you in front of a crowd, hoping you will get angry so they can prove you're no better than they are. But instead, you remain composed, moving forward toward a greater goal. As time passes, your achievements become the sharpest answer. In that moment, you have not only won, you have won decisively. Epictetus, once a slave, later a great philosopher, once said, "The person who makes you angry is the one who controls you." And that is why today, I will show you how to defeat those who hurt you. Not with acts of retaliation, but with a path that is enduring, intelligent, and full of weight. A path that will make them admit that they can no longer touch you. Next, let me share a story with you, before we move on to the main principles. That year, in a dark corner of the city of Rome, there was a man in chains. His name was Epictetus Dash, a slave owned by a wealthy but cruel master. One day, when his master's anger flared, he twisted Epictetus's leg. A sharp pain shot through every fiber of his being. The bones are on the verge of shattering. In that moment, most of us would scream, beg, or curse. But Epictetus said calmly, "I told you, you would break it." A cracking sound followed. His leg truly broke. No scream, no curse, only silence and a serene gaze. Later, when he had become a Stoic philosopher, Epictetus recounted, "My body he could hurt, but my mind he could never touch." This story is not meant to glorify meaningless endurance. It is proof of another kind of strength, the strength of emotional self-mastery. Epictetus understood that if he allowed anger and fear to lead, he would lose everything: dignity, reason, and inner freedom. He chose a path that those who cause harm could never comprehend: silence, composure, and complete control over his mind. Picture this in modern life. A colleague publicly belittles you during a meeting. They hope to see you get angry, to prove that you're no more professional than they are. But if you smile, continue presenting, and let your figures, results, and achievements speak for themselves, then the balance of power reverses. You need not raise your voice, yet everyone will see clearly who has truly won. The Stoics believe that true harm does not come from the actions of others, but from how we respond to them. When you remain composed, you make them realize every weapon they wield is useless against you. And that is the most convincing form of revenge. In the next part, we will explore the first principle that can help you achieve this. A principle Marcus Aurelius lived by all his life, even when facing traitors within his court. Principle 1. Master your emotions. In every battle, whether on a blood-soaked battlefield or in the silent clashes of daily life, the one who loses control of their emotions first is often the one who loses. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. To them, emotions are like an untamed horse. If you know how to ride it, it will take you far. If you let it lead, it will throw you to the ground instantly. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of the Roman Empire, was betrayed by the very courtiers he trusted. Yet instead of letting anger turn into rash decisions, he wrote in Meditations, "When someone wrongs you, consider immediately, can they harm the best part of you? If the answer is no, then let it go." This statement contains a golden principle. If their actions cannot destroy your character and reason, then they are not worth the loss of your composure. Mastering emotions does not mean suppression. Suppression is pushing emotions down until they accumulate and explode. The Stoics chose a different path: to recognize, observe, and then decide how to respond. Like a clear-headed commander surveying the battlefield, they do not rush to give orders, while the dust is still thick in the air. Apply this to a modern situation. You receive a hostile message on social media. Instinct pushes you to respond immediately, with words sharper than theirs. But if you pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, will this reaction bring me closer to my goal? You will find that most of the time, the answer is no. And when you do not react, you take away their greatest pleasure: seeing you lose your composure. Epictetus once reminded his students, "It is not events that anger us, but our view of them." This means that negative emotions do not arise from the outside. They arise from our interpretation. When you change your interpretation, you change the power that emotion has over you. This principle is the first fortress, protecting you from psychological blows. When you master your emotions, your opponent has no way to throw you off balance. And when they cannot shake you, they will begin to feel weaker themselves. In the next part, we will discuss the second principle: how the Stoics clearly distinguished between what they could control and what they had to let go. This is the key to ensuring you never waste energy on battles that are not yours to fight. Principle 2. Place value only on what you can control. Can you control the words of others? Can you stop them from thinking ill of you? But you can control how you react, how you behave, and most importantly, the value you place on yourself. One of the core principles of Stoic philosophy, repeated many times by Epictetus, is, some things are within our control, and some are not. The wise are those who can distinguish between them and focus only on what they can control. Hurts inflicted by others often make us want to prove ourselves, to retaliate, or to hear an apology. But remember, expecting them to change to soothe you means placing your happiness in their hands. And in doing so, you are still giving them control. Picture a Roman soldier being slandered in the marketplace. He cannot silence every mouth-spreading rumors, but he can live and fight in a way that allows the truth to speak for itself. True victory does not lie in making others fall silent, but in not allowing their words to disturb your mind. What does it mean to place value only on what you can control? It means that instead of tying your peace to someone else's attitude, you anchor it to what you completely command. Your morals, your actions, your choices. Someone insults you in front of many people. You cannot force them to be silent, but you can choose to remain silent yourself and smile. Someone betrays you. You cannot force them to be loyal, but you can choose to cut ties and protect your dignity. Someone belittles you. You cannot change their feelings, but you can build yourself so strong that their words become meaningless. And when you truly live by this principle, you will realize defeating those who hurt you is not about striking back directly, but about living a life in which their existence holds no weight over you. When they see that they cannot shake you, that is their greatest defeat. For in the end, the victor is not the one who shouts with laughter after retaliation, but the one who walks calmly through the crowd, unchained by the judgment of anyone but themselves. Principle 3. Turn the energy of hurt into strength. People often believe that pain can only destroy a person. But for those who follow Stoic thought, pain, if used correctly, can become fuel that propels us farther than anyone who has ever hurt us. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in Meditations, "The obstacle is the way. What stands in the way becomes the way." Hurt works the same way. Instead of letting it turn us into someone consumed by resentment and hatred, we can transform it into motivation, to train, to learn, and to grow stronger. Picture a sword. If it never endures hundreds of times, being heated red hot and struck by the hammer, it will remain a weak piece of metal. Humans are the same. Pain is the fire and the hammer, and we are the metal. Each blow life delivers may hurt, but if we can withstand it, we become so strong that nothing can break us. Turning the energy of hurt into strength means that instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" you ask, "What can I learn from this?" If someone belittles you, turn it into motivation to improve your skills, knowledge, and health. If someone betrays you, use it to learn how to read people. And set boundaries. If someone removes you from their life, use that time to focus on yourself instead of clinging to them. This does not mean denying your emotions. The Stoics are not emotionless machines. They still feel pain, still acknowledge it, but they do not let it dictate their actions. They take it in hand like a warrior picking up a broken blade from the enemy to forge into a new weapon. There is a story from Roman history. When Cincinnatus was deposed, instead of harboring hatred, he returned to plowing his fields, training his body, and staying ready. Years later, when Rome faced danger, he was summoned to serve as commander-in-chief and led the army to a decisive victory. Had he allowed the humiliation of being deposed to extinguish his will, history might have lost a hero. The lesson here is, each time you are hurt, you are given a source of energy. You can use it to burn yourself up in anger, or you can turn it into light to guide your path. The Stoic chooses the latter. And in doing so, you not only surpass the one who hurt you, but also surpass the weaker version of yourself from yesterday. Principle 4. Live so well that retaliation becomes redundant. When someone hurts you, the natural human reflex is to give it back. Sometimes in words, sometimes in actions. But for those who follow Stoic thought, retaliation is not the path to true victory. Epictetus once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." The meaning of this is deeper than it appears. When you respond with anger or counterattack, you place yourself on the same moral level as the one who harmed you. You allow them to shape your actions and your mind. That is not freedom. It is enslavement to the emotions and behavior of another. To live so well that retaliation becomes redundant means to focus all your energy on building a life that others cannot undermine. Instead of wasting effort trying to prove them wrong, let your achievements, your character, and your composure speak for you. The ancient Romans had a concept called dignitas, which referred to personal dignity. It was not about a loud reputation, but about the natural respect and authority others grant you through the way you live and the principles you steadfastly uphold. When you preserve your dignitas, no slander or petty act can diminish you. Imagine two roads before you. One leads to devoting your mind to plotting revenge. The other leads to elevating yourself, learning new skills, improving your health, expanding your relationships, and nurturing inner peace. The Stoic chooses the second road, not because they are weak, but because they understand the greatest victory is victory over oneself. There is a story about Zeno, the founder of Stoicism. As a young man, he lost his entire fortune in a shipwreck. Someone mocked and belittled him. Zeno did not argue back, nor did he seek revenge. Instead, he devoted his time to studying philosophy, training his intellect, and eventually became one of the greatest minds of the Greek world. And the one who mocked him? No one remembers their name. The truth is, when you choose to live well and move forward, that can sometimes be the most powerful revenge of all. Your silence and your success carry more weight than any justification. They force the one who harmed you to face the fact that they cannot defeat you, neither in action nor in mind. And eventually, you will realize you no longer feel the need to retaliate. Not because you have forgotten, but because you have moved so far beyond that the old matters seem small and distant. Peace becomes your reward. And this reward is greater than any revenge could ever be. Conclusion: building lasting victory. A victory they cannot take away. There is a truth most people fail to realize. The greatest victory is not making the one who hurt you pay immediately. It is building a life they cannot touch. Those who hurt you often want two things. They want you to suffer. They want the feeling of power from making you lose your balance. When you remain steady, still smile, and keep living and growing, you take away both of those things from them. This is not only an emotional victory, it is also a strategic one. Epictetus once said, "No one can harm you unless you allow it to happen in your mind." This is not a hollow, just let it go cliché. It is a life tactic. By keeping your spirit steady and continuing to rise, you render their existence meaningless in the story of your life. Imagine this. Instead of wasting months or years thinking about the one who hurt you, you spend that time learning a new skill, improving your health, building better relationships, or creating something of value. After a few years, when you look back, you will notice something interesting. They have no power over you anymore. In fact, they are the ones left behind. Lasting victory comes from three things: maintaining emotional discipline, not reacting impulsively, not letting emotions control you, focusing on personal goals, using negative energy as fuel to move forward, building a strong self-image. When others see you, you cannot be broken. They will respect you rather than pity you. The only question you need to ask yourself is, do I want my life to be defined by wounds or by the achievements that rose above them?